afternoon, everybody. I'd like to kind of take a minute or two to show you what I do to prep a new lighter. This lighter I just got in a little while ago, a few days ago, is inexpensive Chinese-made star lighter. But even though it looks a lot like and is designed very similar to the Zippo lighters, the parts and pieces aren't interchangeable. And the manufacturing process obviously isn't as good as a brand name, a real Zippo lighter. Again, even though they kind of look a lot alike, the inserts aren't interchangeable. But the Flints and the Wicks are basically the same. They obviously all take the same type of fuel, and they're adjustable in the same manner as far as the height of the wick, things of that nature. So what I've got is one that just came in today, and you can find these things on eBay for only a couple dollars. I think I paid $2.60 plus another dollar or two for shipping, and I bought a couple of these. It's nice crackle or textured black paint, and again, you can see that it's definitely not up to the standard of your typical Zippo. But I just like to have a bunch of these around. Never have to worry about if I'm able to find one. But things that I like to do is take these apart and replace the wick and the Flint with genuine Zippo ones. I found the Flint and the wick out on Amazon. Buy them pretty much in bulk. So picked up I think 10 packages of Flints and 10 wicks. I think for like $8 or $9 with free shipping. So I'd go through and I prep these cheap lighters as well as the Zippos that I have in my collection, all pretty much the same way. So I start first by kind of taking them apart. You need just a regular screwdriver to take the bottom piece out that holds the Flints in. And you can do this without a tool by putting the corner of the actual lighter in there. I just like to use a regular screwdriver in there because it doesn't gall up the brass for the actual screw. And then you've got the spring, and then you have the Flint. And some of these you'll actually have a metal follower there that'll help put a little additional pressure on the Flint, and some of them you won't, such as this one. But they all pretty much take down the same way as you see here. You've got the base felt, and then the cotton. Now in a genuine Zippo, you notice the cotton is that rayon, and this is just like one big giant cotton ball. And it feels like real cotton. In fact, you can kind of see some of the stuff that makes it up, which is kind of interesting that even a real Zippo doesn't use 100% real cotton, I don't believe. Take the Flint out. The Flint actually, or the wick. The wick actually looks like it's in pretty good condition. It's got the copper that goes through it to kind of keep things together, and the material looks like the same material that genuine wick looks like. But if you look at the Flint, it might be kind of difficult to see here. It's a black Flint, and I think it's fairly soft in comparison to the gold Flints that you get in a genuine Zippo. So let me take that out of its package here. And I guess you could probably use the flint that came with it, but it's been my experience that those things go pretty quick. And because the tension from the spring here and the screw that goes into the bottom of the flint tube, it may or may not work out all that well. So I'll get a brand new genuine Zippo flint and toss that bad boy in there. There it is. And you might ask yourself, well, why did I take the whole thing apart if I was just going to replace the flint? Well, I'm going to do a few other things besides just replace the flint. One of the things is I'm going to put in a genuine Zippo wick. May not be necessary because that wick looks like it was pretty good. If it wasn't sourced by the same place that Zippo does, it's actually a pretty good copy if it's not. The copper that braids through that is a little more prevalent, and it looks a little bit thinner than the one that came with that inexpensive lighter. And this one doesn't seem to be branded at all. I can't even see if there's anything that is stamped on the bottom, versus this one with the Gadsden flag on it. It says Star, which is actually, from, as copies go, it's a pretty good brand. Doesn't matter which direction you put this thing up, and just kind of push it through there. I like to leave it a little bit long, and I'll push it down after I start to get the cotton to go in there. Now this is something that I like to do, is I like to kind of snake the wick throughout the cotton ball. So I'll go ahead and I'll start to push that cotton back in. And in some cases they'll be in smaller cotton balls, like in the case of a genuine Zippo and some of the other copies, like that Star copy. So I'll start to feed that through there. And then, if you notice, I try to take that wick, push it down so that it's really kind of embedded into that cotton. It gives a chance for that fuel to not just go up through the wick, but also to be kind of immersed in the whole situation. Now, in a genuine Zippo, you'll have a little piece of cotton that sits along the other side of the flint tube. I just kind of try to move this big piece of cotton around there, and then get it pushed down just so that it's got enough room for that felt pad to sit down there. I'll go ahead and drop the good Zippo flint down into the tube, and then follow that up. Now, again, a lot of these other copies will have a follower that's like brass or another type of metal that sits within that spring to help give even tension or pressure on that. Don't want to forget to put the felt pad back in. I think it's kind of funny, they all try to copy that look and feel of the Zippo. It was very apparent. Even the good copies, if you know what you're looking at, show up pretty obvious that it's a copy and not a genuine. Give it a couple twists there. You don't have to torque it down, just till it stops. There you go. And again, you don't necessarily need a screwdriver for this. I just like to use a screwdriver because it won't tear up the slot for that screw. And then one last thing that I like to do before I fill it is flip that thing up. Cotton pad. Put a spare flint in here. Now, because these lighters are so cheap, sometimes I won't even waste a second flint, genuine flint on that, and I'll just dump it in there. In this case, what I'll do is I'll put the flint that it came with, the cheap flint, and I'll throw it down in there. And then if you go to fill it, everybody's got kind of their own way of filling things, but what I'll tend to do, if it's a normal or a genuine Zippo insert and lighter, it'll be a little bit easier to do that. It's by kind of setting it down in that, and then open up your fuel. Give it a few squirts. I usually count to 3 a couple different times. Close that, put that out of the way. Pull the insert back in there, make sure you get it in the right side. Now, that wick is probably a little bit taller than I normally like it, but I can always trim it down, or I can push it down with a pair of needle nose pliers in here a little bit. Now let's there you go. So a couple, yeah, and again, probably want to adjust that wick down so the flame's not as tall. That's basically it. Again, that's kind of what I have a tendency to do for all my new lighters that I get in. Again, regardless of whether or not it's a Zippo or a cheap knockoff. This thing, again, a couple bucks on eBay, and you know, it works. I've got a Wick and that other genuine Zippo Flint. I'll go ahead and put that back in there and save that for the next one. There you go.